Listen to better music and listen to music better. Welcome to True Tunes at 45 RPM, the short-form version of the ongoing conversation you'll hear on the True Tunes podcast and in the digital pages at truetunes.com. And now your host, John J. Thompson.
Hello, I'm John J. Thompson, and on this episode of the True Tunes podcast, Michelle and I sneak into a quiet room at Chattanooga's Tivoli Theater between the matinee and evening performances of the Tony Award-winning musical Hadestown to catch up with guitarist Sam Wade, who has been on the road with the traveling version of this stunning musical for the better part of a year and will start his second tour with the show this fall. If you're not familiar with it, Hadestown is a fantastic retelling of the myths of Orpheus's journey into the underworld to rescue Eurydice, alongside the marriage of Hades to Persephone, set amongst the visual and musical elements of New Orleans during the 1920s and 30s. Wade, an inspiring songwriter, producer, and artist in his own right, has been a friend and collaborator of ours for a few years. He joined the traveling version of Hadestown last year and has been adding his considerable skills to its musical gumbo. We jumped at the chance to see him and the rest of the company in action and to talk to him about what it's been like to travel with an acclaimed production. Join us now for some highlights of that chat, and Patreon members, be sure to check out our feed for a video version of the entire conversation.
A one, a two, a one, two, three, four.
Way down, ladies town, way down under the ground. Way down, ladies town, way down under the ground. Way down under the ground. Way down under the ground.
How long have you been on the road with this now?
Wow, let's see, it's been since, so we started Tech. We did 2 weeks of Tech in September, and it started, we did a preview, so I guess it's been since October.
Yeah, but
October.
so Tech is rehearsals.
Yeah, Tech is
Like
rehearsals.
In-depth rehearsals, not just jamming, but like with the show and the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly. So we spent 2 weeks in Waterbury, Connecticut, just getting the show ready, and then we ran out on the road, and we've been out since like the first week of October.
And in your role, you're in the orchestra. Your job is to do what?
I play guitar on the show.
Right.
Yeah.
And what kind of guitar? What's the vibe of it? What are all the different sort of elements you bring?
Well, there's a lot that happens with the guitar book on the show, which keeps it interesting. So there's a lot of prepared guitar.
Yeah, tell us about what prepare. I remember us talking about this a few months ago, so unpack that a little bit.
Well, that was a new thing for me too, and it's been a lot of fun to kind of get my hands dirty with that. So it's a lot of like little extra things that you put on the strings. John Cage is probably one of the most famous artists that would do this prepared stuff with piano and guitar and stuff. For example, in the show, there's several numbers where I take wire and thread it through the strings, and it creates like these extra tones on top and makes it sound a little bit different than normal guitar. There's a few numbers where I put foam underneath the strings to get like a muted sound. It's like, it keeps me on my toes for sure.
Yeah. It's basically effects, but in a completely analog, organic way, which fits the vibe of the show, you know.
Yeah, everything that you hear in this show, because the band's on the stage. We're in costume on stage, interacting with the cast throughout the whole show. Right. Everything that you hear from the music, we're doing live.
It's live.
There's no tracks.
Yeah, right.
All the effects and everything, we're doing everything live in the moment.
What is Hadestown? What is the nature of this like live band playing on stage with actors? Like,
Well, Hadestown, first of all, is not like any other Broadway show out there. Right. It's totally different. There's elements of Americana and singer-songwriter and folk music in there, but there's also all these elements of like New Orleans jazz. Right. Even the set is designed to look like Preservation Hall and have like that feel. So if you take all of those things and weave it into this ancient story, you know, it's based on the Greek myth of Hades and Persephone and Orpheus and Eurydice. So you take this timeless classic story, wrap it in this idea of this very organic kind of meaningful music, and you have this thing that becomes Hadestown. And that's what drew me to it, was because it's so much different than anything I've ever seen.
Now, specifically, how did you get involved? Like, tell us a little bit about your background. You're a songwriter, you're a producer in Nashville. How did you get involved with a Broadway show that's going on tour? How does that even happen?
Yeah, well, you know, so my history really has been from a singer-songwriter standpoint. And I've done a lot of different things over the years. You mentioned that I produce, I do that. I've been in rock bands. I've done like live looping solo stuff with my acoustic guitar. And I've had a lot of different benchmarks throughout that career. But this one, when this opportunity came up for me to try this show, I was like, well, first of all, I was like, do I really want to do this?
Yeah.
And the second one was like, yeah, I do.
Right.
And when the opportunity came up, I was like, okay.
But how does an opportunity like that come up? How does an artist like you, a musician like you, even put yourself into the realm where an opportunity like this presents itself?
My introduction to the show came through a friend of mine who is like a legend on Broadway, Keith Levinson, who's actually the music contractor on the show as well. And we've done some stuff, like we did a thing during COVID at the Ryman Auditorium. It was a festival where we wrote a song for the show together, and it was this whole thing to raise money for all the live event crew that was out of work at the time. So that we have done some things since then. And when he signed on for this show, he asked me, it was like, was that something you'd be interested in? And I was like, after I finished debating it, I was like, yeah, you know what? I want to put my name in the hat and see what happens from it. So that's kind of where the opportunity came from, but I still had to show up, John.
What are the unique skills? Because being a shredder, you know, being able to play in a live band in a club is probably a slightly different skill set than the skills you got to be able to do to audition and win a gig like that. So tell me about the talent, the skills that you had to have honed so that when the opportunity did present itself, you got the call.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I'm not a shredder.
I'm just saying that there are some people, guitar players, students, who are focused so much on their own musicianship.
Yeah.
There's another set of skills that they probably need to hone over time so that if and when an opportunity like this comes up and they get the audition, there's things they might not be thinking about that they're going to have to demonstrate they can do. What are those things?
I feel like because of what I've done before, and I'll get into that I was uniquely suited at this point in time to do this show. And a lot of it for me comes from years of doing singer-songwriter stuff and getting on stage and playing guitar, playing specifically acoustic guitar. There's a lot of fingerstyle in this show. There's a lot of Travis picking, which is something that I experimented with over the years. But this show certainly caused me to focus in and hone that in, because there's a lot of that in the show. And I think being a songwriter myself has allowed me to bring something to the table as a guitar player for this show, specifically because the whole show was written by a singer-songwriter, Anais Mitchell, And it has had many incarnations over the years, and the music has really grown over that time and changed depending on how it's been staged, but it always has that heart of a singer-songwriter. So I think that's one of the things that I can bring to the table as a guitarist and as a songwriter and as an artist on the show that was uniquely suited for this specific opportunity.
Yeah. What about your ability to read music and look at charts and follow like a book and be able to learn music, a lot of music? How did you cultivate that talent or that skill, and then how did that execute in this?
Well, I'm a little bit unique in that sense. I wouldn't say I'm always the greatest sight reader. And in fact, going into the show, I'd spent so many years like doing the vibe of playing off each other in a band, not worrying about what's on the chart and going with your gut. You know what I'm saying? And when it came time to learn the show, I was poring over the guitar book for months, just really obsessing about it.
And what kind of format is the book?
It's all written. It's charted out, and basically the book is a pull down, essentially from what the original guitar player in the show, a guy named Michael Chorney, who's an incredible artist. He played on the soundtrack, and then the book is basically a pull down from that. But it's changed over time as well. So yeah, it's just
you've got his audio, you've got sheet music, you've got all those charts. And how much time did you have to learn all of that?
Well, I had the better part of a summer to learn. I think I got the gig when I found out I got the gig in May last year. Mm-hmm. The guitar book is not something that every guitar player is like, yeah, I want to go and learn that one. It's very idiosyncratic and very specific and bespoke to the show, right, which was simultaneously terrifying and also an amazing challenge to take on, because I just wanted to honor the spirit of the show. I wanted to honor the music and really get inside that. So I spent a lot of time not just learning the book, but listening to all the different versions of the show and the evolution of how it's come over that course of time too.
And in the meantime, up above, the harvest dies and people starve. Oceans rise and overflow. It ain't right and it ain't natural.
Love for everything I do it for the love of you. If you don't even want my love, I'll give it to someone who does. Someone grateful for a fate. Someone who appreciates the comforts of a gilded cage and doesn't try to fly away the moment Mother Nature calls. Someone who could love these walls that hold her close and keep her safe, and think of them as my embrace.
Sing it all, keep her head, keep her head.
Think of them as my hand.
Oh, keep her head, keep her head.
Think of them as my embrace of you.
It's kind of cool to me, and you know how I love to read into stuff, but you've got New Orleans jazz as a background, which itself is a gumbo, with jazz never being the same thing twice. Have you been able to contribute something? Is there some Wade sweat in this thing now that's brought a little bit of uniqueness to it? Does it sound different than it did at the beginning 6 months ago?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to do that for sure. You know, one of the things that was really encouraging and really exciting to me about doing the show was the idea that you could bring something unique of your playing style to it. And there's a lot of room for that kind of thing in the show. It's not the same show every night. Like there's variations, and you could see it on two separate nights and hear, you know, it's especially from the band, little subtleties and differences in how we play it. And I like to think I bring something to the table that makes it a little bit more unique. Yeah.
Now, having done it for a number of months, what are the challenges to keep it fresh instead of, you know, you're playing the same thing every night? Same thing as if you're in a band that's on tour and you got to play your hits and it's like you got to make it exciting to the crowd,
right?
Even if to you it's the same song every night. What do you do to keep it fresh and interesting? And how are you growing as an artist doing this and keeping it interesting for yourself?
Well, first of all, the show is just so beautifully crafted that if we just showed up and played what was in the book, I think it would be fresh for the audience. So I will say that. But I'll also say, for me on the guitar, I am moving around so much between numbers, I don't get bored of it at all. There's a lot of capo changes, because there's a lot of open stuff that I play. So if I'm not moving the capo around, I'm threading the wire or I'm preparing for something else. So it keeps me on my toes. And I think I've done at this point, like, I'm close to 150 shows on this tour, and it's not getting boring at all. And there's nights sometimes where it's like I'm tired and I'm ready to go and go to sleep.
Do you ever forget where you are? Have you gotten to that point yet? What city am I in?
Usually with the hotel room. Yeah. Like I've had to take pictures of my hotel room numbers, so I know exactly where I'm staying. Right. That's the reality of being on the road for sure. Right. Or finding food late at night. That's always a challenge.
And risky.
All right, that's just a little bit of a taste of what it's like getting ready for Hadestown.
One of the things I love about the myth, it predates Judeo-Christian stories and the way that kind of evolved, but this idea of the spiritual angle of a story like this, and I've always liked that they take this this particular myth and they put it in New Orleans. And New Orleans is such a melting pot of Catholicism and voodoo and darkness and light and passion and all that stuff. So it's a great place to put a story where someone is going to put themselves in the dark for reasons of light, right?
Yep.
So how do you, I know you're a real spiritual person, you're a deep thinker of these things as an artist, as a songwriter. Has the story had an impact on you, hearing it night after night in the music? How do you feel about the spiritual angles of this thing?
It's absolutely had an impact on me. There's certain numbers in the show, and really, actually, all of them can affect me differently each night. Like it'll be like something will happen on stage between either the band or the cast, and it'll come alive in that moment, or sometimes with the audience too. Mm-hmm. But there's a lot of that stuff built into the ideas that are presented in the show too. A lot of light and dark, and the balance between those two things is a big part of it, of what it is. So certainly, yeah.
What are the emotions do people ever recognize you from the band, or is it when you dress down, are you able to just kind of blend into the crowd, or do people come up to you and share what the thing means to them, or do they?
Yeah, it's the best of both worlds really, because sometimes you can kind of just keep, like if it's like I need to go, you can just kind of like fade into the background. But there's been a lot of times like meeting people at the stage door, and just getting in that instant feedback of how they love the show. Yeah, for sure. It's a very cool thing. And in fact, we were in Monterrey, Mexico for, I want to say it was like 5 shows that we did there last December. And that audience there was incredible. There was such a camaraderie and just an amazing respect for the music and the musicians too, on top of the cast. That, I just remember like there was this one girl who had driven all the way from Mexico City to see the show, which is a long way from Monterrey. And she was so excited to be there. We were chit-chatting for a while, and I was just like, you know what? Can I give you a hug? It was just like, it was right in the moment. She was like, oh my God, yes. And so I did, and it was just like this tears, and it was just like this, the music had so deeply affected her in that moment. I was like, okay, forget that. This is amazing to be a part of this whole experience.
feel like this is giving you any sort of sense of what you might do as an artist next? Is it getting any of your juices flowing for wanting to write music of your own, to record, or where you're gonna take it from here personally?
Yeah, I think I'm still. It's hard to know what that trajectory is going to be when the show's over, because I'm so in this right now. It's like I'm consumed in a good way with this music. It certainly has like pushed my boundaries as a player, and I've already noticed that a couple things that I've started to write while I'm on the road as is coming from a different place than what I've done previously, for sure.
If people want to follow you, what's the best way for them to hear music you've already done, or follow you for the trajectory of where you're going?
Well, I would say probably where I'm most active is on my Instagram, which is just Sam Wade Songs.
Sam Wade Songs.
Sam Wade Songs. And you can find my other stuff on samwademusic.com. But yeah, and also our band, we have an Instagram page. It's called The Underground Symphony, so we're posting stuff on there too.
So do you know how long you'll be doing this, or is it kind of open-ended?
So we're doing this leg of the tour until May 18th is the last show. Now the show is continuing after this. We got the summer off. And
you have a couple things to do over the summer, though,
yeah,
right?
got quite a few
You got
things
something
to do
going on
this
this, or what are you doing this summer?
Let's see. I got a. What are you?
No. I'm asking you. What are you doing this summer?
Okay, so one of the most amazing things about this whole journey is I'm actually getting married to the love of my life.
Oh, that's right.
Right after the end of this
It's
show.
almost as if I knew that and forced you to say that in the interview.
Yeah, and so we're very happy and very excited to be tying the knot and doing that. So it's been a whirlwind because all that was planned before I ever took on this tour.
Yeah, so advice for all of you that are out there thinking about this, guys, get engaged and then go on tour for a year and let your fiance take care of everything. That's what you're saying. That's a secret.
She might have a different thing to say.
Right. That's a secret to a happy wedding.
Definitely get some things done. That girl she's awesome.
She's
Well,
incredible.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And everybody go make sure to check out Hadestown. And so proud of you. Great stuff. And thank you for taking some time to talk to us. I know the students are really excited, especially to hear. They all know about the show.
Cool.
To think they're this close to somebody. So when you're back home, sometime when school's in session, I'd love to have you come over and hang out with some of the students.
I'd love to.
Bring the guitar and show them how to do that stuff. And
Yeah, that'd be great.
play some of the songs. That'd be great. So.
Yeah, you got it.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right, thanks, John.
Sunflowers bloom where the green grass grows. Our praise is not for them, but the ones who bloom in the bitter snow. We raise our cups to them. We raise our cups and drink them up. We raise them high and drink them dry. To Orpheus and all of us, good night, brothers, good night.
Thanks again, Sam. And thanks to both the Hadestown team and the excellent staff at the Tivoli Theater in Chattanooga for making us feel so welcome and taking such good care of us. If you can see Hadestown on the road or on Broadway or in London, do not miss it. The Runout Groove is coming, and that means it's time to go. If you dig the show, please subscribe and spread the word. Also, please leave us a review and a rating at Apple Podcasts. Subscribe to our email list at truetunes.com. Follow us on Facebook at TrueTunesNow, and find and follow our weekly Spotify Gallery Stage mixtape. And you can support the show through our patreon.com/TrueTunes community or via a one-time tip linked on the show notes page. Tell your friends about the show, post it on your socials, and let us know what you think.
This podcast is produced by John J. Thompson and Bruce A. Brown for Gyroscope Productions and is intended for the private use of our listening audience. The contents are protected by US copyright law and are the intellectual property of Gyroscope Productions. with the exception of songs or clips that are from previously copywritten materials. Everything on this episode is used by permission or under fair use provisions. Thanks for listening. Cheers. We'll see you next time.